What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip, and today I have a dummies guide video for you guys about strings and the different type of strings there are in Mortal Kombat. So to keep this video very short, I'm gonna go down the list and let you guys know how it's gonna work, and I'm gonna use a character to specify everything that I say. So just for instance, you have something where something called a go-to string, you have a whiff punishing string, you have an anti-air string, you have a reversal string, you have a zoning and spacing string, you have a shimmy string, you have a stagger string, and you also have a forbidding string. Okay, now another thing that I wanted to implement in this video is that not only do you have strings of all the things that I said, you also have strings, pokes, normals, and special moves. Then another thing that you have is mid, close, far, and very far. These are things that you have to understand. So for an example, right, you have a go-to string, you have a go-to poke, you have a go-to normal, and you have a go-to special move. Then from there you have a go-to poke that's mid, close, far, and very far, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use a character to basically to talk about these things, and I'm just going to go down the list. I'm just going to press X randomly. All right, so we got Lee May, and I'm just gonna pick Darius. Doesn't matter about cameo. We're not gonna really talk about cameos. We're just gonna talk about strings in particular, and I'll let you guys figure out what you think your pokes, normals, and special moves are when it comes to go-to pokes, with punishing pokes, anti-air pokes, special moves, reversal special move, reversal strings, reversal pokes, whatever, right? But anyway, like I said, I want to keep this video very short, but I wanted to also explain to you guys how this works. Okay, so Lee May's go-to string will always be 1, 2, 4. No matter what you think, it can be her back 3, but in reality, her go-to string is always going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Her whiff punishing string is always going to be back 3. That's her whiff punishing string. Why? Because if you set the AI to poke, right, and you wanted to whiff punish your opponent, go here, reversal on. I know I've done this before, but I just want to show you guys how this works. So like if I did something like this, oh, he's not blocking, he's blocking. Okay, that's not here. Oh, okay, see how he pokes? Whiff punish. All right, so anti-air string, you already know how this is gonna go. Get him to jump. Now you might have more than one anti-air move, so just keep that in mind. You can use which one is more comfortable for you. But yeah, I'm gonna show you once I figure out how to set him to jump. Okay, jump forward, right? So you have a go-to poke, you have a go-to poke, these are your go-to poke. You also have a go-to special move for anti-air, so anti-air special move, anti-air poke. Then you also have a normal you can do. You can even do this, that's a string, the anti-air. You can also even do this. You can, hold on, see how the anti-air, so you can use that as a go-to, a anti-air. So you have an anti-air string, you have an anti-air poke, and anti-air normal, and anti-air special move, and you can do this up close. So like up close would look something like this, where he would be on the opposite side of you, where you could do that. You could also do it with like that, you know, something like that, whatever, right? You can even do it into special moves as well if you want to. Like if your opponent jumps over you, she has the fastest 6 frames, so you can do something like that. All right, so let's keep pushing. I'm trying to make this video very dumbed down so you guys understand. So now we have a reversal string. So like, let's say that my opponent was pressuring me and I wanted to take my turn back. You would have a reversal string, right? So he did this string. So see how that's a reversal special move? It doesn't always say it, but you'll have a reversal move that you will use right after your opponent does a string, where it can be a string, or it could just be a poke, where you poke automatically. So you have a reversal special move, which reversals usually are special moves, but in this instinct I'm trying to get you guys to understand, which will be right after your opponent does a string. You can take your turn back with a normal, you can take your turn back with a special move, and you can take it back with a special move depending on the frame advantages with Lee May specifically for her. Then you also have your zoning string. You also have a zoning or spacing normal, which will be like down poke, which will also be like your stand poke, where you kind of just call it checking, where you just want to keep your opponent at a distance. We're going to just call this for spacing and neutral, where you kind of just throw this out in neutral, and if they get hit, you can just OS distance to that. So you can just kind of throw this out, because if they get hit by it, you'll be able to go into something like this, you know, go from a combo from there, whatever you want to do. You can do this, whatever combo, right? The next thing that you would have is a shimmy string. Shimmy strings work two different ways. Shimmy strings can go based upon having a mid, but then it also could be used as using a high, because when people react to the high, they usually are ducking, so the first hit whiff, and then they try to press a button and the mid hits them. And then on top of that, since they are ducking, the second hit is a little slower. If you pay attention, it's showing 12. So imagine 12 frames where your opponent didn't press anything, and then he finally decides to, he gets hit or shimmied, because sometimes also too shimmies look like grabs. Depending on what character you play, it can kind of look similar look to a grab. So by the time that they think that you're going to grab them, or if they're playing defense and they're trying to tech the throw, they automatically get hit by this, which is considered a shimmy. So you have shimmy strings, you have shimmy special moves, and so on and so forth. Shimmy strings are kind of like, shimmy special moves are kind of weird, because it'll be something like this. It's not necessarily a shimmy. It's more or less like your opponent is trying to do something, and you catch them off guard with something like this. You can duck it, but like they just get hit by it because they're not ready for it, and they were trying to use a high or try to use their fastest button to take their turn back. Then you also have stagger strings. We all know about stagger strings, and the point of stagger strings is so you don't lose your turn, or if they have gaps in between them, you kind of just take the gap out of the string and bait them to armor, or you bait them to press a button, and you kind of blow them up for trying to take their turn back. And that's kind of how stagger strings work. So you can do like stuff like this. You can micro duck into more buttons, or you can do 1, 2, and then down poke to see what they do. Just certain things they kind of just catch them off guard. That's really helpful, or like really good. And as far as like stagger special moves, it doesn't make sense in that sense, where you would just, certain things that don't make sense, you just don't have to worry about it, like stagger special moves or like stagger pokes. You can do that, but like stagger special moves don't make sense. But like, I guess you can do it, like depending on like with Shang Tsung, he has 3 different fireballs. You can kind of stagger them, so you can do like the first one, like the one fireball, and then maybe 3, kind of throw them off. And that's only like specific to like Shang Tsung. Just so keep that in mind when I say certain things, like even for an example, like forbidding strings. Forbidding strings, you don't have nothing like forbidding special moves. Not necessarily there's anything that's like forbidden special moves. Just more that you just need to be cautious about. You shouldn't throw them out brainlessly, like this one. You don't want to throw this out brainlessly. You want to kind of just catch your opponent off guard and stuff like that, because if they false walk, you become punishable. So I wouldn't consider it like a forbidden string. Just more or less, just be careful with that. A forbidden string will be something like, let's see if she has a forbidden string. Let's see if she has a string that kind of like, what's this one? This is a forbidden string, and the reason why it's been considered a forbidden string, because you wouldn't really throw this out. You would do something like this to hit confirm, because the reward is better than going for something like this, because if they block, you get a full punish. And then on top of that, it just doesn't make sense. You kind of use it to actually know that you would punish your opponent, but throwing this out is kind of like just forbidden. Like, why would you do that? So you can say this is a forbidden string. You don't have like anything as far as like forbidding pokes. The only character that I can think of that has like a forbidden poke that still gets away with it, I believe Kung Lao, when he does that drop kick, the leg drop kick, whatever that is, that move is kind of like a forbidden like normal, which is like, why would you throw that out? I still haven't found a specific reason on why you would use that string, but I'm gonna probably lab it later, probably figure it out, because I really do like Kung Lao. I kind of wanted to make this video super short, guys, but again, just to remind everybody, you have something called a go-to strings. You have whiff punishing strings, you have anti-air strings, you have reversal strings, zoning and special strings, spacing strings, I'm sorry. Then you have shimmy strings, you have stagger strings, and you have forbidden strings. And your forbidden strings would, like I said, would be like normals would be like kung laos, drop, leg drop. And again, you don't just have strings, you can imply strings, pokes, normals, and special moves. When I say all those things, like go to string, or if I say whiff punishing string, you have a whiff punishing poke, you have a whiff punishing normal, you have a whiff punishing special move. So just keep that in mind when I talk about these things. And then on top of that, like I said before, you have mid, close, far, and very far. Or you can just say you can have close, mid, far, and very far, however you want to put it. Those are really good as well. And can you use them is the next thing. You have to think about, can I use my mid, close, far, or very far? Can I use my go-to poke, normal, or special move in certain instincts? Another one that like a go-to string, just for another example, would be like Johnny Cage forward 3. It's really good. So anytime that you want to take your turn back, you want to use that just to OS if your opponent is trying to duck, if your opponent is trying to poke or mash, and so on and so forth. Your 9-frame mid is going to be all those, and you don't have to pay attention to whatever your opponent's trying to play, like these little mini mind games. That's kind of what makes Johnny Cage very strong, is because he doesn't have to play those mind games. And then like another thing too is like take and keep your turn, especially when it comes to using these moves. So like your go-to string is more or less like, how do you keep your turn, or how do you take your turn? That's something that you have to implement when you think about these things. With punishing strings, how do you take your turn and how do you keep your turn? So you can whiff punish your opponent, which would be kind of like spacing. Is really just keeping your turn. So like you stagger this move to keep your turn. You do forbidden strings to keep your turn, or kind of just throw your opponent off, which essentially is taking your turn and keeping your turn. Shimmying is really just like taking your turn. Just think about those things when I tell you all these different strings. Is it taking, or is it like keeping? You know what I mean? Taking or keeping. That's really the two things that's really happening when you are trying to figure out what to do. Take or keep. Anyway, guys, I wanted to make this video super short. I wanted to do it in less than 15 minutes. We're at 12-minute mark. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. I'm not going to edit or anything like that. I just wanted to keep this one really short for you guys so you can see what I was talking about and apply it to your gameplay. I also will have it in the description below so you can see it visually, what I'll be talking about. But that's all I have for you guys. I appreciate the like and comments that you guys give me. I'm Jay-Z Bottom Lip. I'm out.